quite a few of these quotes, in fact. I don't understand how some of these churches now can admit women into the clergy. I saw on they had a skip there the other night on CBS News, I believe, with some minister up in Massachusetts and fired a lady who was teaching Sunday school for 54 years. And they flashed on the screen what verses he was hitting from the Bible, and here were the Acts. I looked on it real quick, there it was, exactly the one I was going to read. He pulled out Timothy, but you could also use Corinthians. Let your women keep silent in the churches, for it is not permitted unto them to speak, but they are commanded to be under obedience as unto the law. If they want to learn anything, let them learn from the husband at home. The Bible is not only in support of slavery, it's extremely sexist and male chauvinist. Poor Eve gets blamed for bringing sin into the world. The original cause of sin. Science in the Bible. Boy, does it take a hit in the book of Leviticus. And if you're looking for rational, sensible, logical science, I highly recommend that you stay away from the Bible. It talks in Leviticus about a bat being a bird. There's this long list of birds. The last one's a bat. Anybody that's had a first year biology course knows a bat's not a bird, it's a mammal. It talks about 4-footed fowl. It's the last time you saw a chicken or a duck with 4 legs. 4-footed locusts, beetles, grasshoppers. They're insects. They all have 6 legs. Hares chewing the cud. Statement by Jesus. He says the mustard seed is the smallest of all seeds. Jesus doesn't know what he's talking about. Science will tell you an orchid seed is smaller. Christians will say, oh, it's just in that area of the world. He doesn't say that. He says it's the smallest of all seeds. They always try to get me with this, oh, you're taking it too literally. How many times have I heard that? And another one of their favorites is, are you taking it out of context? And I sit there and say to them, what do you mean take it out of context? One says 22, the other says 42. There is no context. It's simply facts. You read through Proverbs, it's one statement, then another topic, another topic, another topic. There's no context there. So that context argument's worthless. And this taking it too literally nonsense isn't going to fly. I work with a principle. The Bible says what it means, and it means what it says. If they'd meant to say something else, they'd have written something else. So I don't fall for that nonsense. You'd be surprised at the fundamentalists I talk with. They want to start changing the book. If you start coming to some of these verses, you find out, I don't have a problem with the book. They do. They don't like what it says. So occasionally I get into an argument with one of them and I say, oh, wait a minute. It says, in the case of Adam and Eve, it said that God said, for the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die. Adam didn't die the day he ate it. But it'd be 900 some odd years old. And they said, oh, you're taking it too literally. I said, what does that say? It says he's going to die the day he ate the forbidden fruit. He didn't die that day. Then what they'll do is, a lot of times they'll want to change the words. They say, well, it didn't even die in the sense of he's actually dying. It's a spiritual type death. And all these manipulations they use. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh, wait a minute. I'm reading the King James Version. It was put together by a committee around 1611 scholars. You're telling me they didn't know what they're doing. I'm going along with what they have. I like what they wrote. You don't. What are your qualifications in Greek and Hebrew? How many courses have you taught in Greek or Hebrew? How many books have you read in Greek and Hebrew? What are your qualifications? They don't have any. Virtually everyone I've mentioned and talked to, they don't have any qualifications in it. So I find that I use their own book against them. They have a problem with the text, not I. Now they try to get out of these problems by rewriting the script. More versions came out on the Bible in the 1900s than you can believe. Up until about 1900, there were very few really notable versions of the Bible out. ASV came out in 1901, but boy, they flooded the market afterwards. Why? Because a lot of them wanted to change the script. They can't solve these problems, so we'll rewrite the text. What's the Bible say? Thou shalt not kill. Well, if you follow that, you can't be in the army. You can't carry a gun. You can't, a policeman in trouble. It says, thou shalt not kill. I said, oh, well, then you have to rewrite it. New versions in the NIV, which is the fundamentalist version, they changed it to thou shalt not murder. Well, there's a big difference between murder and killing. All murders are killings, but not all killings are murders. So they're dishonest. So watch their scholarship. These new versions that come out. It's highly suspect. The version I like is the Revised Standard Version, 1946. But the ones that are highly suspect are ones like the NIV, the Living Bible. It's simple in many cases, it's inaccurate. But going back to this science situation, when I hear biblical science being discussed, I often think of the story of the boy that came home one morning from Sunday school, and he walked in, and his mom said, "What'd you learn in Sunday school today, Sonny?" "Johnny?" He says, "Mom, they told me about how Moses was sent behind the enemy lines by God to save the Israelites and the Egyptians. And when they came to the Red Sea, Moses called for the engineers to build a pontoon bridge. And after they had crossed the bridge, they saw the Egyptians trying to use the same thing. So Moses radioed with his walkie-talkie to bring in the tanks to blow up the bridge and save the Israelites, in fact." And his mom says, "Bobby, is that really what they told you at Sunday school?" He said, "Well, not exactly, Mom, but if I told it their way, you'd never believe it." The only hope that the youth of today would be as wise. Actually, Montague once said of the Bible, it's a good book. He said, how can they call it the good book? He says that calling the Bible the good book is one of the most remarkable euphemisms ever devised by the mind of man. Why? Because some of the language in the Bible. At this point, I depart from my normal forte and resort to using language I don't particularly like. But I'm going to do it simply to expose the fact that the Bible deserves to be sensitive in many cases, and has been, because some of the language in it. I'm going to read some profanity that's in the Bible, or filthy language in my estimation. And it's certainly not the type of language you want your children to get up and read in Sunday school.